Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We are working on the gross body, how this gross body appears to be ourselves and us, but it is not. This we have to be fully convinced initially, then only we can progress. So in the 89th verse the teacher says, Tvang masaridara snayu medo machasi sankulam purnam mutra purishabhyam sthulam nindamidam vapuho. Now our body is dissected, very disgusting. This body, which is made up of the collection of the skin, muscles, blood, nerves, fat, bone marrow, etc., and filled with the fecal material and urine, is indeed abhorring. There is nothing great about the gross body. So when we look at this gross body, I read one story somewhere. One person said, he went to USA from India. A ordinary villager, first time he has gone into the Western world, where everything is so flashy. So when he went, he was so surprised and shocked to see, and he had fallen in love with a lady. And he said, "Honey, I love you, I cannot live without you." So she said, "What do you like of me? You are running after me. What did you like?" "Oh, I like your hair. They are golden hair." So she took out the wig and gave her take. Then what more you like? "Oh, I like your beautiful teeth." He took out the denture and what you like? See? If we say these all things are very beautiful, and if somebody dies and we roll the whole skin into a yoga mat and give, this is your beloved skin, will you like that? No. This is abhorring, disgusting. Further, panchikritebhya bhutebhya stulebhya purvakarmana samutpannamidam sthulam bhoga ayatanam atmanah avastha jagaratasya sthularthanubhavoyatah. Now this gross body, which is made out of the 5 great elements by grossification, is meant to be the ayatana, the house where the embodied is living. See? And then avastha jagrataha tasya. And this gross body is functional only during the waking state. To put it in other words, whenever we are identified with the gross body, then alone the waking state begins. The waking state disappears the moment our identification with the gross body has stopped. Therefore, when we say, where from the world has come into being? So, this world is created by gross body identification. Very simple. Where from the world begins? The world begins from our gross body. Where the world ends in our gross body. So if our gross body is not taken into account, this world has no existence whatsoever. Therefore, only during the waking state, we are able to experience the gross world through this gross body. Further, बाह्येन्द्रिय स्थूल पदार्थ सेवां स्त्रक्चंदन स्त्र्यादि विचित्र रूपां करोति जीवः स्वयमेतदात्मना तस्मात् प्रशिष्टिर्वपुरुष जागरे. Now the external objects are contacted by the sense organs such as strakchandana. Strakchandana, this is a phrase in Sanskrit literature which means, as it is said, in the earlier days, the politics was governed by 3W. We have got www, justbehappy.org. In the same manner, earlier days, the politics was governed by 3Ws. The 3 W's are woman, wine and wealth. Now, the politics is governed by the same W's, but now they have done Shirshasana. Now they are MMM. Money, muscle and media. With these 3 things, the whole politics is governed, So this phrase is called as Strak Chandanadi Vichitra Rupam. So the worldly objects are included in this, and Jivaha Karoti. So the Jiva, the embodied one, is enjoying these objects through the sense organs while living in the gross body as the gross body. And Tasmat Prashasti Vapuhu Asya Jagare. Therefore, gross body is functional only during the waking state. During the dream and the deep sleep state, gross body is not functional at all. Therefore, many times when we wake up from the sleep and we wake up, hey, what happened to you? I don't know, man, my neck, I just can't straighten it. Why? What happened? You were just sleeping. I must have been sleeping in a very awkward position. During that time, there was no pain. The moment we become identified with the gross body, the pain begins. Then, sarvopi bhaya samsaraha purushasya yadashrayah vidhi dehamidam sthulam gruhavad gruhamedhinaha. So all the external experiences in the gross life, in the waking state, are conducted from this gross body, just like a householder is living in his house, and from there he is conducting and contacting the whole world. Now, what are the attributes and qualities of this gross body? Sthulasya sambhava jara maranani dharma sthaulya dayo bahuvida shishutadyavastha varna shramadi niyama bahudha yamasyuhu puja vamana bahumana mukha vishesha. Now, what are the dharmaha? What are the attributes of the gross body? First, sambhava jara maranani. The gross body is born, then it becomes old, and one day it dies. Sthaulya dayaha. So either the body is fat or thin or good figure or no figure or round figure, different types of sizes. Bahuvida, many of them. Shishutadyavastha. The same gross body now goes through many stages of life. As an infant and a child, and then the teenage and the middle age and the old age, these are the various stages of the gross body. Then varna shramadi niyama. Somebody is a brahmachari, somebody is a grahastha, somebody is a vanaprasthi, somebody is a sannyasi. These are the different stages with reference to the gross body. All the rules and regulations are with subject to the gross body. Ladies should sit this side, gents should sit this side, should not mix up with reference to the gross body. In this manner, all rules and regulations are there. Similarly, respect and disrespect, giving honor and dishonor is always with reference to this gross body. In this manner, all these are pertaining to the gross body. The moment we are not identified with the gross body, the whole load of the waking world disappears. Now, which are the instruments through which we come in contact with the whole world? So there are 10 of them. Buddhindriyani shravanam tagakshi ghranam cha jivva vishayavabodhanan vakpani padam gudamapyubastha karmendriyani pavanena karmasu. So there are 5 organs of action and 5 organs of perception. Which are the organs of perception? Buddhindriyani, organs of perception are the ears for hearing, skin for touching, eyes for seeing, nose for smelling, and the tongue for tasting. Similarly, the organs of action include the speech for talking, the pani, the hands for holding, pada for walking, gudam for excretion, and upastha for procreation. So these are the 10 sense organs and organs of action through which the jiva comes in contact with the world. When you go more and more in detail of this, you will see such a beautiful picture. It is the same 5 great elements. From Sattva Guna aspect of the 5 elements, the 5 sense organs are formed. From the Rajoguna aspect of the same 5 elements, the organs of action are formed. From the Tamoguna aspect of the same 5 great elements, 5 objects are formed. Therefore, everything that is happening, it is only in Prakriti. Nothing happens to us. We, the Absolute Self, remain always untouched. This has to be recognized, and therefore this information is given. Now, after having understood the external thing, now we are entering Antakaran. What is the content of our inner instrument by which we are experiencing? Nigadyate antakaranam manodhi ahankrutischitta swavrittivihi manastu sankalpa vikalpanadivihi buddhi padartha dhyavasaya dharmataha atrabhimanat ahamityahangkrutihi swarthanusandhana gunena chittam. Antakaran, the inner instrument. Bahikaran, external instrument. Eyes can see the things outside, not inside. So, what are the instruments which are functioning inside? So, there are 4 of them. Now, here there is one basic difference. When we talk about external instruments, they have got structural difference and the functional difference. Like eyes have got a different structure, ears have got a different structure, nose have got a different structure, and their functions are different. But when we come to the inner instrument, Antakaran, the mind, it is only functionally different. There are no structural differences. So what is that Antakaran? It is that state of the thought. Be very attentive, it's a very subtle point, many miss this. It is that condition, that state of the thought, when it is in a confusion and chaos and indecisiveness, then it is called as mind. See, I should take a cup of tea here, or I should go to the kitchen and take there, or I should drop the whole idea, why prepare tea and take, This state is mind. No, I should go to the dining hall and take a cup of tea. This state of the thought is intellect, adhyavasaya dharma. Whose doubt and whose decision? Of course, my doubt and my decision. This is ahankar, ahamvritti. And the whole mess is collected in the form of memory. It is called as the chitta. So when the thought is in a doubtful state, it is called as mind. When the thought is in a decisive state, it is called as intellect. When the thought is in the form of ownership, it is called as ahankara. And when the thought is in the form of the memory, it is called as the chitta. And these 4 words are used alternatively or collectively in many texts, and we have to understand which is the reference that is being used by that teacher in that particular context. In this manner, Antakaran Chatushtaya is told. Now, the Pancha Pranas. Prana, Pana, Vyano, Dana, Samana, Bhavatyasau Pranaha, Swayameva Vritti Vedat, Kruti Vedat, Suvarna Saliladivata. Like the thoughts, depending on the quality, are called as the mind, intellect, etc. Similarly, the air outside in Yoga Shastra, it is said Dvadashangula. Dvadashangula means from the tip of our nose. If you measure 12 fingers, 4, 4 and 4 up to here, or it is this much distance. This is a distance of 12 fingers. Dvadashangula, up to here it is air. And from here, when the air starts entering our system, it gets converted into prana. It is the same air, but functionally they are different. So one is the prana, second is apana, third is vyana, udana, samana. In this manner, the same water is called as the ripple, the foam, the surf, the waves, the breaker, the tsunami. The water is the same. In the same manner, the same air becomes prana, and functionally it is different in 5 different ways. Now, after having told this, now we come to the subtle body. Vagadi pancha, shravanadi pancha, प्राणादि पंचाभ्रमुखानि पंच बुद्ध्याद्य विद्यापि च काम कर्मणि पूर्यष्टकम सूक्ष्म शरीर माहुः. These 8 things together is called as the subtle body. What many places it is called as the astral body. So what is the subtle body? 5 organs of action, 5 organs of perception, pancha pranas, then these 1, 2, 3, then 5 great elements, 4, then buddhi, avidya, kama and karmani, these are together 8. This is called as the subtle body. So the 5 organs of action, 5 organs of perception, 5 pranas such as prana, apana, etc., 5 elements such as space, and the inner fourfold instruments such as intellect, etc., then the ignorance, the desire, and the karma. These 8 points together constitute the subtle body. Now see how it comes. Ignorance, wrong understanding or incomplete understanding about our being, the original cause. Because of that, desire. Because of the desire, karma. And for doing the karma, organs of action. For activating the organs of action, pancha pranas. And the knowledge required for them, the antakaran chatushtay. The 4 mana buddhi chitta ahankara. And perception of the world through the 5 sense organs. In this manner, if you see, we start our personality from avidya, incomplete understanding of our being, and thus slowly the ramification takes place, and like out of one seed the whole tree comes out. In the same manner, out of this wrong notion about our understanding, the whole phenomena of the relative world comes into existence. This 8-fold factor is called as the subtle body. Now, idam shariram shrunu sukshma sannitam lingam tvapanchi krutabhuta sambhavam savasanam karma phalanubhavakam svajnanato nadi upadhiratmanaha. Now, this subtle body is a conditioning of the jiva, the self, and it is called as the sukshma sharira and made out of the ungrossified 5 great elements. And there are many impressions in that from the last life, and it is because of one's ignorance about oneself, it becomes an eternal conditioning of the self. And therefore, the self starts functioning only through the subtle body, sense organs, etc., and starts imagining, I am that alone. See, friends, this example which I have given many times. Man is absolute consciousness. Conditioning, wife. Wife is like a subtle body. When the man is functioning through the subtle body, the wife, he is called as husband. The husband is a jiva or the soul. Who is miserable is the husband, the soul, and who is happy, the man, the reality. See? Once I was in some place here only in UK, one person asked me, Swami, why don't you get married? I kept quiet. Then he said, after all, happiness is not everything in life. See, therefore, man is reduced to husband because of the conditioning of the wife. In the same manner, Paramatma, the Supreme Self, is reduced to a jiva because of the conditioning of the subtle body. Now the subtle body is our instrument. If we are riding the instrument, if we ride the horse, then we are the horse riders. But if the horse rides us, then we are in a mess. Exactly, this is the all spiritual practice. Let us not be the slave to our subtle body, the sense organs, the organs of action, the mind, etc. It is for this purpose this is being told. Then, like the gross body has the gross world, waking state as the experience. Now for the subtle body, what it is? Swapno bhavatyasya vibhaktya avastha स्वमात्र शेषेण विभाति यत्र स्वप्ने तु बुद्धि स्वयमेव जाग्रत कालीन नानाविध वासनाभिः कर्त्रादिभावं प्रतिपद्य राजते स्वयं यत्र यत्र स्वयं ज्योतिरयं परात्मा. Now, this subtle body is expressing basically in the dream. Therefore, Swapna Bhavati Asya Vibhakti Avastha, specifically subtle body expresses in the dream, and it is only the subtle body, the mind alone, which is becoming the experiencer of the dream, which is becoming the world of the dream, which is becoming the enjoyer of the dream, which is becoming the relations in the dream, which is becoming the enemies in the dream. Everything is only the mental world. And this is how the subtle body functions. Now, where from the impressions come in the dream? They are all collected impressions from the waking experiences. And this is how the doership or dreamer is born. I will do this thing, I will do that thing. Here one point, important point. Nobody dreams the dream as a dream. During the dream, it is the solid reality. We call it dream after we are awake. Exactly the same way. This waking dream, if anybody comes and tells us this is a dream, hey, this is a dream. This is solid reality. I am holding you. Is it a dream? I am pinching you. Is it a dream? See, one day one of my friends, he is an ophthalmologist. He was driving me. And when I was talking on some text and this point came, that this whole waking dream has to be transcended only through understanding and knowledge. So after the lecture, when he was driving me, he became so uneasy with this statement. He said, Swamiji, I am driving you. I am avoiding the accidents. I am sitting next to you. This is a dream. I said, first of all, take the car on the side. I will tell you everything. Be cool. Then I told him, I said, you are an ophthalmologist? Yes. You tell me how you see the objects. Object enters through the lens in the form of an image and it is landing on the retina, comprehended by the mind, which is bathing in the light of consciousness, and what knowledge we get is only that of the images. If the image is not allowed to be formed, the object does not exist for us. When we close our eyes, what happens? Images are closed. The world doesn't exist. You know, once in Bangkok, somewhere Pattaya like that, I went with my friend. And there is one cinema hall where whatever they show on the screen, your chairs also move like that and make the sound like that, I don't know what they call. We went for that movie. It was written there. If you have got the following things, don't enter. If you have got blood pressure, if you have got heart problem, if you are pregnant, don't enter. I said, I don't have all the three, I can enter. I entered with my friend. And movie was, it was a train journey going very cut, rattling here and there. And accordingly our chair used to become like this. And finally that train jumps into a big valley and my friend says, Swamiji, let us get out. I said, no, close your eyes. That's all. You don't have to get out. See, so what we really experience is only images. See, then images are formed when the world is received through our sense organs. So when my photograph is torn, am I torn? It is just an image. But in this state, do you think we will accept it? But those who are awakened to their essential nature, they know this is just a big drama going on. And therefore for them, there is neither honor nor dishonor. neither achievement nor failure, neither recognition nor non-recognition. They just pass through this world as a time pass. See, friends. Therefore, once we understand this principle, as much the dream is a dream, that much the waking experience, what we call, is equally a dream. Yesterday I told you, any experience which demands a medium of knowledge to cognize that experience, that is an illusion. See, therefore, this subtle body is basically functioning in the dream, and all the impressions which are gathered on the mind, they are encashed and opened up in the dream. धीमात्र गोपादि शेष साक्षी न लिप्यते तत्कृत कर्मलेशैः यस्मात् असंगस्तत एव कर्मभिः न लिप्यते किंचिदुपाधिना कृतैः. So in the dream, when all good and bad things are done, they do not influence the supreme reality. Whether the dream is good or bad, how does it matter? We remain the same. See, I am very fascinated by the clouds. I have taken lots and lots of pictures of clouds. One day somebody asked me, Swamiji, why are you so much fascinated by the clouds? I said, they have taught me tremendous. See, the conscious space is that in which the clouds of waking come, rain and disappear. We, the conscious place, the clouds of dream come, don't rain, only make thunder and disappear. And in this conscious space, there are no clouds. That is the deep sleep state. So, our own being is this infinite expanse of consciousness in which the waking, the dream, the deep sleep, these three kinds of clouds keep on coming and going, but nothing happens to the conscious space. That conscious space is our essential nature. Clouds come from nowhere, they go nowhere. In the same manner, where from the waking has come, where it has gone, where from the dream has come, where it has gone. Is there any origin of dream? Or dream came from the Peru and now it is going to Middle East? No. It is just an appearance. It has no stability. It has no structure. It is not real. Therefore, the Supreme Self is simply witnessing, eliminating the dream, and the dreamer becomes miserable. Therefore, one day I told you, this statement, I had a good sleep, but sometime I had bad dreams, cannot be said by a waker. Because waker was not in the dream, he was not in the deep sleep. Yet this statement is made. So this statement is made not by the waker, but the one who was present in the deep sleep but was not sleeping, who was present in the dream but was not a dreamer, and who is talking in the waking but he is not a waker. See, friends, how simple it is. When I talk to my child, so that time I am a dad. When I talk to my servant, that time I am a boss. In the same manner, whether the waking has come and gone, I, the Supreme Self, remain untouched. Whether the dream has come and gone, I, the Supreme Self, remain untouched, and so on. This is our identity. It is for this purpose all these discussions are being held. There is nothing further to go into the depth of it. So, Sarva Vyapruti Karanam Lingam Idam Syat Satchidatmanaha Pumsaha Vasyadikamiva Tarkshanestainatvad Bhavati Asangoyam. Like the carpenter has his instruments, in the same manner, for the Supreme Self, this subtle body is like an instrument because of which it is able to come and play the game of life. Now, these subtle body and the sense organs, it has got many attributes such as andatva, mandatva, patutva, dharma, saugunya, vaigunya, चाशुद्धि चक्षुषः बाधिर्य मूकत्व मुखास्तथैव श्रोत्रादि धर्मा न तु वेत्तुरात्मनः. Sometimes we are able to see properly, or when we are blind we cannot see, or we are able to hear properly, or we cannot hear properly. In this manner we can talk, sometimes we cannot talk. These are all the qualities of the instrument, not of the self. When we say we know, when we don't see, that also we know. So not only the object of knowledge are our objects, but even the instrument through which the objects are recognized, that is also an object of knowledge. And therefore all these qualities belong to the sense organs or organs of action, and they do not belong to the self. There was a great saint in Vrindavan. Earlier he was born in Pakistan, the earlier Pakistan, it was India only. When he was hardly 8 years or 9 years, he used to go for satsang and all that right from childhood. And because of something he became blind. And that time his parents died. So all his uncles and aunties, they have looted away his complete wealth. He was extremely rich and he was left alone. So he started walking with the Mahatmas. And slowly he spent his time only in devotion to the Lord. And he writes in his memories, he says, first day when I became blind and I was not able to see, I was going, and one bullock cart came and dashed me and I fell down. So I became very angry and I abused that bullock cart fellow. Don't you see that I cannot see and you have made me this thing? I became very angry, abusive. Afterwards I got up and started. Then another man came, he dashed me and again I fell. Again I became very angry. This world is very bad. Oh, like that. I got up and started. Then I dashed a tree. When I dashed a tree, then the question came in my mind, now to whom should I blame? He said, I learned a message in my life at the age of 9. If somebody can really help me in this world, it is only the Lord and none. There is nobody to be blamed. And his devotion to the Lord grew to such an extent that all the Himalayas, the Char Dham, he moved all alone, although he was blind, all himself on foot. Those days there were no vehicles there. That much of total surrender when it comes, then we come to discover that whether we see or we don't see, the Supreme Self is functioning independent of everything. This discovery is the purpose of studying all these things. Now, the prana. What are the attributes of the prana? Uchvasa, nichvasa, vijrumbana, kshut, praspandanadhyut, kramanadika kriya, pranadi karmani vadanti dajnyaha, pranasya dharmao ashana pipase. The wise say that the breathing, yawning, sneezing, trembling, and excitement, these are the attributes of the prana, and also the hunger and the thirst. Then comes the ahankar, the agency of doership. Antakarana meteshu chaksharadishu varshmani ahamityabhimanena tishtatyabhasa tejasa. When the consciousness is reflected in a I thought, that I thought becomes enlivened, and thereafter there is identification with the gross body and the subtle body, and a notion that I am the body, I am the eyes, I am the mind, I am the enjoyer, I am the sufferer. This notion happens. See friends, it is something like this. If you take a bucket of water, and in that bucket of water the sun falls the disk of the sun reflects. Now be very attentive. By the general sunlight, we see the bucket and the water. Like by the general sunlight, we see everything. Now the disk of the sun, which has reflected in the waters, from there another beam of light comes. And that reflected beam of light is able to illuminate another spot which was not reached by the sun. Exactly the same way. In the intellect, it is the intellect alone where there is a capacity to allow the reflection of the consciousness as the Chidabhasa, wherein the notion of I is born. This notion of I, like the reflection, gives a beam of reflected light. In the same manner, this notion of I creates an illusion of the life. And thereafter we start living as I am so and so, and this happens in our heart. Therefore, when a child is born, if the child doesn't cry, then what the nurse does? She holds him upside down, Urdhva Moola Madhashakam, and then cold water is splashed on the body, and that creates a kind of a action on the general consciousness, and there is the first contraction. The moment the contraction happens, the breathing begins, and it happens here at the sternum, where the diaphragm is attached, and therefore whenever we have to say, when I tell you, our finger, this finger, naturally goes here. Do we say, when I told you? We don't bring our finger to the knee. When we say, I told you, no, I means here. It is here the sense of I is born. See? So, ahankarasya vijneyaha karta bhokta bhimanyayam satvadi guna yogena cha avastha trayamashnute. Now this ahankar, the sense of I which is born, he is the one who is having the agency of doership and the enjoyership. So I do this thing, I have enjoyed. If you remove the I, there is neither doing nor enjoying. And all the spiritual practice is getting rid of this sense of doership from our system. So, this is Ahankar, who is responsible for the Karta, the doership, Bhokta, the enjoyership. And Satvadi Guna Yogena cha Avasthatrayam Ashnute. And this Ahankar undergoes the three experiences, the waking, the dream and the deep sleep. In this manner, our body is now slowly being analyzed and dissected. What are the various components which go into the formation of our personality. Vishayanam anukulle sukhi dukhi viparjaye sukam dukkham cha tadharmaha sadanandasya natmanaha. Now this ego, this ahankar, who is functioning in the three planes of experience, when the objects of their own choice are available, he is very happy. When the miserable things come, he is very miserable. So, the miserable and happy is the lot of this ahankar, the jiva, and not that of the Paramatma. Therefore, all the spiritual practices learn not to identify with anything. See, what is identification? These days, there was a football fever throughout the world going on. In Calcutta, they are very great, fans of football, more than cricket. In other parts of India, cricket is very famous. So, big stadium, and once they took me there. And after it was over, Swamiji, how did you like the match? I said, I have not seen the match. Then I said, I was seeing the people and I have learned something there. What I have learned? Identification. He said, there also you learn? I said, yes. What did you learn? I told him. When the penalty corner is given, right from the front, penalty shot is given, and the players are standing in proper position, and the whole audience is tense. And the player comes and gives a kick. Now he is giving the kick. Watch the audience. They also become like this and give. This is what is called as identification. See? Sometimes you are going below a barrier, the car goes comfortably, but you feel very heat. So you just do like that. There is no need. This is how the identification happens. With the misery, we become miserable. With the joy, we become joyful. So all the spiritual practices learn that illuminator is never influenced. This light is illuminator. Whether there is a discourse, he doesn't become wise. Whether there is a disco, he doesn't get irritated. Or if there is nothing, it doesn't make any difference. See? This is the basic principle. Knowledge is never influenced. Eyes illuminate all the colors and forms, eyes are not influenced. The mind entertains every kind of thought, mind is not influenced. Consciousness illuminates waking, dream, deep sleep and samadhi. Because of the waking and the dream, nothing is added to the consciousness. Because of the deep sleep and samadhi, nothing is removed from the consciousness. See, this absolute reality is our essential nature. It is for this purpose the teacher has given so much of detailed information. Now, continuing this thought further, Atmarthatvena hi preyan vishayo na swata priyaham swata eva hi sarvesham atma priyatamo yataha. So this Atma, the absolute self, is absolute existence and pure knowledge, consciousness. These two things are proved. Now the third thing, the Atma is Satchit and Ananda. Now that is taken for discussion. Everything in this world is dear to us for our sake, not for the sake of the object. See, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad this thought comes 9 times, different ways. The wife is dear to the husband for his own sake and not for the sake of the wife. The husband is dear to the wife for her own sake, not for the sake of the husband. The child is dear to the mother not for the sake of the child, but for her own sake. The money is dear to the man not for the sake of the money, but for his own sake. And he is dear to himself because he loves himself the most. Why he loves himself the most? Because he is the source of absolute bliss. In short, whatever gives us more happiness, we love it more. In this world, we love ourselves the most because we are absolute bliss. See, friends, thus the Satchidananda Atma has to be recognized as our essential self. He who has discovered our oneself to be the blissful reality, he will never run in the worldly objects for getting the glimpses or ticklings of happiness. Tata Atma Sadanando Nasya Dukkham Kadachana Yat Sushupto Nirvishayaha Atmanando Nubhujate Shruti Pratyakshamayati Yam Anumanam Cha Jagrati. Therefore, Atma is Sadananda, is ever blissful. Na tasya dukkham kadachana. There is no trace of misery in our essential self, and this is certified, experienced and accepted by everyone in the world, because in the deep sleep, the bliss that we have, it is without any object around us. See? In the waking state, happiness comes from good food, good clothes, good company. In the deep sleep, nothing is there. And nobody can say, I had a very deep sleep but I was very miserable. Not possible. Because the bliss in the deep sleep does not come from the objective world. It is the subjective bliss that is cognized in the deep sleep. And therefore, our essential nature is the blissful self. Unless we recognize this, we will keep on running in this world and start imagining that I will get happiness if I do this thing. I will get happiness if I get that thing. No, no, no. See, friends, it is so simple. And the more we become subjective, we don't have to give up the world. You know, it is something like this. When the fruit becomes mature on the tree, it automatically drops. In the same manner, when our wisdom becomes perfect, when understanding is ripe, the world automatically drops. Now, what is the dropping of the world? Dropping of the world means the world is no more a problem for us. Neither we want to avoid the world, nor we want to run after the world. This way, the understanding takes place. Now, the next step in this study is the Maya. The Maya is the one which is most misunderstood. We'll try to understand this in a very exhaustive and deep manner. Avyakta namni paramesha shaktihi anadya vidya trigunaatmika para karyanumeya sudhiyaiva maya jaya jagat sarvamidam prasuyate. Like the fire has its burning power, and any energy, any power is always recognized from the effects. See, whether some particular germ or virus is poisonous or not, how do we know? When the effect is seen. If there is no effect, you cannot know whether it is poisonous or not. And it is avyakta namni. In the same manner, the supreme reality has got its own potentiality and it is called as unmanifest. First. Second, paramesha shakti. And this is the supreme power of the divine reality. Third, anadi avidya. And it is beginningless. Because the reality is beginningless, the inherited accompanied potentiality also is without any beginning. And it is called as avidya. Avidya means incomplete knowledge. Now see what is the meaning of incomplete knowledge. By our eyes, we can see a particular spectrum of light waves. Vibgyor. Our eyes cannot go beyond that spectrum of light waves. Does it mean there are no more light waves? There are. Alpha, beta, X-ray and what ray? See? So many waves are there, but our eyes are not able to see. So what do? We say, unless I see something, I don't believe. In this manner, the Maya means an incomplete knowledge about something. Similarly, ears. Human ears can hear only a particular spectrum of the sound waves. Beyond that, human ears cannot hear. So if we say, then I cannot hear, therefore I don't believe, this is called as the operation of the Maya. Therefore, it is anadi avidya trigunatmika para. And this Maya is having these three aspects, sattva, rajas, tamas. Now see, this is also a very subtle point, Unless you study deeply, these don't surface. Nobody in this world has ever seen the three gunas. Sattva, rajas, tamas, these are only words. They are inferred from the three experiences. In this world, there are three things. One is inert matter. Second is dynamism, action. Third is knowledge. So it is said in the Sankhya Shastra that the cause of the inert is tamoguna. The cause of the dynamism is Rajoguna, and the cause of the knowledge is Sattva Guna. So, from the effect, the cause is established. Then, which is the cause? Whether effect is the cause or cause is the effect. Therefore, the rule is cause and effect are illusions. They are not real. And therefore, this Maya, which is creating this whole world of cause and effect, is a total illusion. See, friends, to digest and assimilate this, we require a very, very strong digestion power. Or else we get constipation and we get frustrated. Oh God, Vedanta is terrible, don't study Vedanta, it will confuse you. See? Avyaktanamni Paramesha Shakti Anadi Avidya Trigunatmika Para Karyanumeya can be inferred only from the effect. Karyanumeya Sudhiyaiva Maya. This is how the wise people call Maya as this. Then Yaya Sarvam Jagat Idam Prasujate, and it is from this Maya alone the whole world is created. I will give some more example to make this point. Exactly what is meant by this Maya. Water has got its own potentiality because of which the water can exist as ocean, because of which the water can exist as waves. Number one. Number two, as the sugar cane never suffers from diabetes because its own potentiality, the sweetness, cannot influence the sugar cane. The cobra doesn't suffer from the poisoning, although he carries the poison. Exactly the same way, the potentiality of the water cannot influence the water. Number 3 point. In the water, other than the water, there is nothing. Now, where will the potentiality influence? Potentiality can influence on something other than the substance of whose the potentiality is. See, then what will happen? The potentiality will try to influence the water in such a manner that it appears to be an influence, but it is not an influence. And therefore, because of this potentiality of the water appears as an ocean. In the ocean, everything is drowned and sunk. Water never sinks in the ocean. It is because of this potentiality, the water is appearing as the waves. Waves break, water never breaks. Waves are born, water is never born. Waves grow and die, water neither grows and dies. And then what we say? We go to the water and say to the water, "Sir, you are terrible as the ocean, but playful as the waves." The water will say, "Excuse me, what did you say, ocean?" Water can never understand what is ocean. Water can never understand what is wave. And what we do? Ocean the cause, wave the effect. Reality is water. But our attention is not on the water. Our attention is on the wave and the ocean. Therefore we say ocean is the cause and wave are the effect. So this cause and effect is superimposed on the water because of the potentiality of the water. This superimposition is just an illusion. In the same manner, Isha Vastyamidam Sarvam Yat Kinja Jagatyam Jagat. There is but one absolute reality. We call it as the world, we call it as a jiva, we call it as a God, and thus God becomes the creator and jiva and the world become the created, cause and effect is created, a total chaos of illusion. See, friends, and in this, the whole world is struggling, trying to evaluate the quality of the mirage waters, so that we can save the world from water crisis. I will not be surprised if the World Bank will give somebody a lot of financial aid to harvest the mirage waters. It is possible. It is just an appearance. Therefore, the moment this Maya disappears, how the Maya disappears? When the worldly objects are not given value, when the sense organs are fully under control, shamadama uparati shraddha titiksha samadhana, when the mind is quiet at peace, and when we are no more influenced by the relativity, and we are abiding in our essential self. Means the wave or the bubble has gone back to the water. So, spiritual life is the journey of a wave to the water. See, friends, all additional paraphernalia of the gross body, the prana, the mind, and whole life is spent in controlling the mind, in controlling the prana, and again it begins the same thing. Prakriti is that where Vikruti is natural. You may do anything, you cannot stop becoming old. You may do anything, one day we have to die. See? And living long, what are we going to do? See? Therefore, unless we rise above this relative existence, all our struggle is only in this. And therefore, this Maya should be clearly understood. Maya is not anything very bad, etc., but our wrong notion. Whatever I see through the eyes, that alone is true. Whatever I understand through the intellect, that alone is true. No. The truth is beyond the comprehension of the senses, beyond the comprehension of the intellect. Because it is beyond cause and effect. This uncreated eternal presence is our 24/7 experience. And yet, we ignore that under the cover of this Maya and get so much lost in improving the Maya. The world is always like this. There is nothing that can be added or improved upon. Never there was any time which was different than what it is today. Always the same thing. Therefore, Jaya Jagat Sarvamidam Prasujate Sannapya Sannapya Bhayatmikano Bhinnapya Bhinnapya Bhayatmikano Sangapya Sangapya Bhayatmikano Mahadbhuta Anirvachaniya Rupa. Now this Maya, if you want to understand, it is still difficult. What it is? San api, asan api ubhayatmikano. This Maya or the potentiality is as well as is not, and both. Now take an example. The heat and the fire. Fire is the substance, heat is the attribute. So we are talking about two things, fire and heat. Therefore heat is. Now second thing, can the heat exist independent of fire? No. Therefore, the heat does not exist independent of fire. Therefore, it doesn't have independent existence. Therefore, it is not. See? We talk about the heat, therefore it is. It cannot exist independent of the fire. Therefore, it doesn't have independent existence. So, it is not. And therefore, it is and it is not both. See, friends. Similarly, the Maya of the Lord, the potentiality of the divine. This is indicated in our scriptures in many different ways. You must have seen, this Ardhanari Nateshwar, Lord Shiva, half is Shiva and half is Parvati. It is this principle. See? And in another place I was explaining, you must have seen also the Kali Mata. Lord Shiva is lying on the floor and she is standing on his body, bringing out the tongue, and there is a garland of skulls, and like that. It is nothing but this principle. When Maya or the Prakriti becomes manifest, the Purusha or the substratum gets hidden. And when the Shiva becomes manifest, then the Prakriti becomes silent. In us, this is continuously going on like the waves on the ocean. Waking and dream, they are like when the Prakriti has become activated and pure consciousness is hidden behind those activities. In the deep sleep, all these activities of the mind, intellect, body, etc. is totally quietened, and there Paramatma manifests. And therefore, in the deep sleep, when the Prakriti is not active, we all experience bliss because Paramatma is manifesting. See, friends, this is non-stop happening again and again, again and again. At least one day it should click. Really? In deep sleep, why we struggle to go to deep sleep? Why we want to sleep? On the contrary, in sleep we reject everything. See, where from the happiness comes? In this manner, when we become more and more subjective, Vedanta is intelligent analysis of our own experiences in the light of the scriptural authority. If that we are able to do, then we don't require anybody outside. We come to discover. Like, as a child, we have collected so many toys. We want this, this, this. When we didn't get it, so miserable we were. We got it, we were happy. Now we are grown up. What is our attitude towards those toys? Neither like nor dislike. In the same manner, a wise man grows from the relative world. He is neither a friend nor an enemy. He is abiding in his absolute blissful self. It is for this purpose these topics are being discussed here. So, san api asanna api ubhayatmikano, bhinna api abhinna api ubhayatmikano. This potentiality of the Paramatma is separate as well as not separate and of the nature of the both. Similarly, Sangha api Ananga api Ubhayatmikano, and this potentiality is without parts as well as with parts. Now tell me, the understanding can be complete or can be absolute understanding or no understanding. If you ask somebody, this boy wants a job, should I give him? Do you know about him? Yes, I know about him. What is he? He is 70% truthful. We want somebody 100% truthful or no truthful. In the absolute, there are no parts. See? But this Maya, the Prakriti, it becomes manifest, it becomes unmanifest. Therefore, it is with the part as well as without the part. And therefore, we cannot talk and explain what the Maya is. See? Now, this Maya, if we have to get out of it, what is to be done? Shuddhadvaya Brahma Vibodhanasya Sarpa Brahmo Rajju Vivekato Yatha Rajastamas Sattvamiti Prasiddha Gunas Tadiya Pratitai Svakaryahi. Now this Maya, how it can be destroyed, how it can be transcended, how we can go beyond the influence of the Maya. It is said, Shuddha Advaya Brahma Vibodhanasya Sarpa Brahmo Rajju Vivekato Yatha. If we have mistaken the rope for the snake, Vedanta is not complete unless the snake and the rope is brought. The snake is meant for the disciple to be beaten, and the rope is meant for the guru to hang himself. Now the rope is not recognized as a rope for whatever reason, and therefore all the fear of the snake comes, and then we take a torch and we go in search of not a rope, we go in search of a snake. And when we go in search of the snake, snake disappears and the rope discovered. In the same manner, we inquire not about Paramatma, about the world. What is this world? The world will disappear and the truth will be revealed. In the same manner, we don't inquire about Paramatma, we inquire about ourselves. Who am I? And when we inquire properly, we come to discover neither the body, nor the sense organs, nor the mind, nor the intellect, none of them could be me, but the one who is inquiring, that is my essential nature. In this manner, Brahma Advaya Swarupa Bodhanasya, when we come to discover our essential nature, the effect of Maya cannot influence us. Just like when the rope is discovered, all the pangs born out of the snake appearance disappear, and this Maya has got these three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, and they are recognized from their effects. Meaning nobody has ever seen the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Swakarjaihi Pratitaihi. Because of the inert things, it is called as the Tamoguna. Because of the dynamism, it is called as the Rajoguna. Because of the knowledge, it is called as the Sattva Guna, as the causes. But in fact, they have no place without the absolute reality. Now see, can we say from a good person, consciousness is manifesting, and for a bad person, something else is manifesting? No. It is the same. There is no difference whatsoever. This pure consciousness is to be recognized as our essential nature. Hereafter, these three gunas of the Prakriti, how they operate in us,